Alright, today's video we're going to teach you a technique, and that technique is something I should have spoken a long time ago about, and that is the WILD technique, the wake-induced lucid dreaming technique. And I have mentioned this briefly in other videos, but I don't really feel like giving it the attention it deserves, because it is probably one of the most effective lucid dreaming techniques, and it's the easiest way for beginners who don't really know a lot about lucid dreaming to be able to start on a level that's comfortable for them and actually start controlling their dreams from scratch. So, if you don't already meditate, I'm not going to go into too much detail to that, but I would advise you to go to my website howtolucid.com and sort of read a few articles that I have about meditation on there. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it like that for now. So we're going to just get straight into it. The wake-induced lucid dreaming technique is a technique in which you lay down, ready to go to sleep, and you're going to let your body fall asleep while your mind stays awake. And it's much easier said than done. Okay, this is something I did struggle with a lot when I started out, because the temptation is for you to just let your mind go to sleep as well. You just fall asleep and wake up in the morning and you're like, well, what happened? I was trying to have a lucid dream and I just fell asleep. And of course, this is very annoying. This is a common problem. But with a little bit of practice and a little bit of practicing the right thing, I believe you can master it. You can get it sorted out. Okay, so the first step of a wake-induced lucid dream. And before I go any further, I'd just like to explain that a wake-induced lucid dream can be done at the start of sleep, when you're first going to go to sleep, or it can be combined with the wake back to bed technique, which is where you wake up 2 hours before you would normally wake up in the morning, and you target your deepest period of REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. It can be done at either time. Okay, it's easier to do this in the morning, just before you would normally wake up. So maybe, say if you would normally wake up at 7, do this at 5 AM. Okay, so it's a bit of an early start, but that's going to be the easiest time to do the wake-induced lucid dream technique. However, I'm just going to go over how to do the technique, and then you can decide whether you want to do it first thing as you try and go to sleep, which can work for some people, or whether you want to do it combined with the wake back to bed technique in the morning when it's most likely to work. Okay, but obviously, as I said, this is different for everyone, so try both. Try both. Maybe do 2 days of one, then 2 days of another, and keep alternating until one of them works. Okay, which it will, because it's a fairly common technique. So, step 1: lay down and go. Sort of get comfortable. Relax all of your muscles, and try not to focus on anything in particular. If you've never meditated, this will be quite difficult because you'll be laying there and your mind will be racing. You'll be thinking about all sorts of things, and the most common thing is you'll be thinking, am I lucid dreaming yet? Okay, you'll be concentrating on what you're trying to do, which is natural. Okay, it's normal. However, in order for this to work, you need to actually relax beyond that. You need to literally not have anything on your mind, or at least get to the point where things are coming to your attention, but you're not focusing on them. You're more letting them drift over you. So it's like you're aware of the thoughts, but you're not interacting with them internally. Okay, and this is obviously much easier if you meditate, because that's what meditation is about. It's about detaching from those thoughts and being aware of them, but not actually interacting with them or giving them emotional attention. So, step 1, as I said, relax all of your muscles. You can do this whichever way is most comfortable for you. Okay, some people will start at their head and they'll sort of focus on each body part going down to their toes and relax each part individually. And I think this is known as sweeping relaxation. Something like that. There's lots of different names for it. Some people will sort of sink into their bed and just relax everything at the same time. Okay, this is a technique I like to use because I find it works faster for me, but everyone's different. So as I said, try it out, see which one works for you. And yeah, other people like to listen to sort of audio tracks. You can get binaural beats. I'm sure you've heard me talk about those before. They can help you relax as well. There are all sorts of ways to help with this step. Okay, you can get incense in your room, you can get lavender spray for your pillow, you can get all sorts of things. A memory foam mattress helps. Blackout curtains will help you as well if there's lots of light, for example, from street lights and stuff outside. Blackout curtains will help with this. But the basic step is here, just to find the most comfortable way for you to relax all of your muscles and try not to think or focus on anything in particular at this point. Okay? Step 2. Stay in step 1 for about 10 minutes or 20 minutes. It varies from person to person depending on what you've done that day, how tired you are. your natural hormone levels in terms of your wake up and your go to sleep hormones. But step 2 is just about staying in that state for 10 to 20 minutes. Okay, so you don't need to set a timer. You don't need to be focusing on it in any way. But I'm just explaining step 2 because then you know sort of what's happening. Step 2 is that you stay in that state for 10 to 20 minutes. The way you'll know that you've done that is that you'll start to see what's going to happen in step 3, which is sleep hypnagogia. I think I've pronounced that right. And that's where images, shapes, colours, lines, whatever, will start to flash in front of your eyes, sort of on the back of your eyelids. And they won't be, at first, they won't be distinct, specific things. It will more be sort of like the feeling of a shape. And I know that sounds weird to hear, but it will be more sort of just about the idea of a particular place or a shape, patterns, and these sort of things will flash on your eyelids. And at this point, it's important to let them wash over you. If you try and focus on them, that's going to keep your body awake, and you're not really going to be able to do it as fast as you could. So just let the images and shapes sort of wash over you. And after a while, you'll notice that you've completely detached from your body. You're no longer aware of your body and the feeling of your body in the bed. Or either that, or you will be aware of sort of like a heavy weight pressing down on your body, or like some people describe it as like a lead blanket being slowly rolled up from your feet to your head. And this is the start of sleep paralysis. And I'm sure you've heard of sleep paralysis. There's all sorts of stories about that. I've mentioned it a few times in my videos before. Sleep paralysis is completely normal, and it's what happens normally to everyone every night. But usually sleep paralysis happens after you've already fallen asleep and after you're already unconscious. But what it is basically is you are paralysing your muscles. So it can sound scary, but it naturally happens to everyone, so that you don't act out your dreams in the night. So that if you're running, you're not going to start kicking wildly at your partner next to you or the wall or whatever. So sleep paralysis happens naturally to everyone. But because you're focusing on staying awake, I say focusing, because you're trying to stay awake and you're keeping your mind occupied and you're being aware, you're going to sort of be awake during that process. Okay, so sometimes you'll notice it, sometimes you won't. But if you do notice it, if you do feel like there's a heavy weight pressing down on you, or even if you start to sort of hear noises or feel sensations, don't worry about those. Okay, they can seem a bit unusual, especially if it's your first time. Just don't worry about those. Ignore those. And if you do have to think about them at all, just think you're on the right track to becoming lucid. Okay, it's a good thing, because it means you're doing the right thing. It means you're starting to become lucid and enter a dream. Okay, so don't focus on them too much. These things will happen, and then after about 10 minutes after that, you will start to be able to think about entering the dream. And the way you're going to do this is you're going to focus on the feeling of the dream. So instead of trying to tangibly reach out and grab something that you see, like I said, you'll be seeing shapes and patterns at this point. Instead of trying to reach out and tangibly grab something, really try and just let the dream form around you. Okay? And this is easier, again, if you practice meditation. I know I keep going on about it. But just sort of let the dream form around you. And so maybe focus on something in the distance and then sort of try and see things in your peripheral vision. And this is something you can practice in waking life as well. If you look at something right in the very distance, okay, focus on that. And then try and notice things around that using your peripheral vision. And this will help you in the lucid dream, because your peripheral vision is going to be sort of what's constructing the dream around you. And at this point, it is very important to not panic and just relax, because if you try and focus on something, or if you get emotionally attached or think, oh, I can see something over there, I'm going to run and try and interact with that, the dream is very fragile at this stage. When the dream is forming, you're in that very delicate, fragile state between being awake, being in your bed, aware of yourself laying there and seeing these shapes, and being in the dream. So it's important that in this transitionary stage, I think I said that right, you are not going to be too emotionally engaged with what's going on, because you'll collapse the dream and you'll wake up. And this is very annoying. This has happened to me a lot of times. So you want to be relaxed, let the dream form around you, and then naturally, after a minute or so, you will be in the dream. and you'll find that you've gone to a completely lucid state from a waking state, and hence the name, wake-induced lucid dream. It's a solid transition from being awake to being awake in your mind, but in the dream. So I hope this has sort of cleared up how to do a wake-induced lucid dream for some of you. As I said, you can decide when to do this. This video has gone on for over 10 minutes, so I'm going to sort of cut this short here. But yeah, you can decide to do this either as you first go to sleep or in the morning, 2 hours before you would normally wake up, when it's most likely, because this is targeting your REM sleep, which, as I've said before, is the most likely time for a lucid dream, an OBE, that sort of thing. So let me know how you get on. Leave a comment in the saying it again now. Leave a comment in the comment section. Go and subscribe to my website, howtolucid.com, and obviously subscribe to this YouTube channel if you want more. See you in the next video.